Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. My name's Mark, welcome to my channel. I hope you're doing very well. So, it's Father's Day here in Britain tomorrow, Sunday, 21st of June. And there's lots of reports in the media that this Father's Day is going to be the biggest plant-based Father's Day ever. So why on earth is this happening? Why is Father's Day becoming this big plant-based thing? Stay tuned to this video and I'll tell you why. If you're new to my channel, hello, welcome, I'm Mark. Please consider subscribing and selecting all notifications. According to my YouTube analytics, 40% of all my views come from subscribers. I would desperately love to get that percentage to 50% by the end of June. So if you subscribe, that would be a massive help to me. It would really be supporting my channel. If you're a long-time viewer, you already know this, but thank you so much for your continued support. Without you guys, there would be no channel. It's fantastic news. It's fantastic plant-based news. According to plantbasednews.org, 6 million British dads on Father's Day tomorrow and across the Father's Day weekend are going plant-based, and they're starting to shun the traditional steaks and heavy meat-based diets for plant-based alternatives. According to Plant-Based News, this is based around the fact that there's been a lockdown boom in people choosing plant-based meals instead of the traditional meat meals. So 6 million British dads this Father's Day are going to choose to have plant-based meals. 1/3 of those 6 million, for instance, have said that they're going to have a meat-free burger rather than a burger stuffed with pieces of dead, tortured animals. It's really interesting for me to be reading this story because I've noticed that there's been a decline in this attitude of there's something incredibly masculine about eating meat. It's always been incredibly odd to me that a lot of men think, you know, I'm cooking on the barbecue and I've got meat on the barbecue, and somehow eating dead animals and meat makes you a man and it makes you masculine, which I've always found bizarre, because what is masculine and tough and strong about paying somebody to torture an animal during its life, then kill it, then you go to a supermarket and buy some nicely prepared squares of dead animal in a nice little plastic packet, pop it under the grill, shove it in the oven and cook it? There's nothing masculine about that. It doesn't make you more of a man. You might be more of a man if, you know, 1,000,000 years ago you were hunting wild animals and tearing them down and ripping them apart and carrying them back to your homestead. That's probably more masculine. But the idea that there's some kind of link between masculinity and meat and dead animals is ridiculous. Now, thankfully, that kind of attitude seems to be changing because men are becoming more mindful of reality and what's going on around them. Fathers between the age of 25 and 34 are becoming more aware of the kind of planet that they want their children to grow up on. They want their kids to grow up in a world where we're not cruel to other people, certainly, but we're also not cruel to animals. They want their kids to grow up in a world where they can breathe fresh air and they can go to the woods and see trees. They don't want their kids growing up in a world of polluted air, because animal agriculture is one of the biggest polluters of the planet. And so what's really interesting is more and more dads are becoming more mindful of, okay, this might not be my future, but it's my children's future and it's my grandchildren's future. And so more and more of them are shunning meat for plant-based meals. One of the other really cool statistics that I read in this report is that 13 million are cutting their meat consumption since the start of coronavirus, because the coronavirus itself has made people look at the way that we treat animals. We all know where coronavirus came from. It came from the way animals are farmed. It comes from the fact that we're destroying habitats of wild animals, which means we're coming into closer contact with wild animals, which means their diseases are going to become our diseases too. And that's fascinating. 13 million in Britain are cutting their meat consumption. Out of that 13 million, 15% of those people said that they are also going to cut their dairy and egg consumption. So again, that is fantastic news. If you're a meat farmer, if you're a dairy farmer, if you're a farmer who produces eggs, I'm sorry, but your time is coming to an end. The great thing about this, of course, is that the more people that cut their meat consumption, the more people who cut their consumption of dairy and eggs, the more pressure that puts on supermarkets to provide alternatives. The more alternatives that supermarkets provide, the more demand there is from companies to produce those alternatives, and therefore the cycle is there will be more alternatives. So once the consumer starts to demand the alternatives, which is now happening and has been happening for the last 2 years, companies, supermarkets, they all have to respond. The consumer, me as a consumer, you as a consumer, we control what's in the supermarkets. If we demand better food, better quality food, food that isn't based on torturing animals to death, the companies in the supermarkets will have to provide us with that. And this is what's happening. Father's Day is going to be a milestone because it's going to be the first Father's Day where millions of fathers all over the country are going to be having meat alternatives, and it's wonderful news. The report also came up with some really cool statistics to say that all the British people that have been trying meat alternatives during the lockdown, the vast majority of them intend to continue to have those meat alternatives after the lockdown and once everything gets back to normal. See, that's the key. It's no good somebody trying something new, a meat alternative, in a lockdown situation and then going back to meat. You have to make those alternatives so good that they want to continue. And the great thing is that British people are trying these alternatives and discovering, despite the fact that they may have had some prejudices previously, they're discovering that these alternatives are actually better than meat. They taste better, they're healthier, they're cheaper, they don't involve animal torture, they don't involve destruction of the planet. This is really happening, and Father's Day is a wonderful symbol of the massive changes that are sweeping across Britain. People are really genuinely becoming more mindful about the food that they put in their baskets, in terms of wanting the future generations to have a planet that's cleaner and healthier, and that isn't occupied by billions of animals being tortured and psychologically damaged and killed. This is all wonderful news. Father's Day is going plant-based. And not only that, but those fathers who said they're going to be plant-based over Father's Day, the majority of them have said they're going to continue to be plant-based. So this is fantastic. If you think that's fantastic news, give this video a thumbs up so that I know that you're with me on this. Like the video anyway. Please leave your comments. Please share the video wherever you choose to share it. And please come over to Instagram, veganmark_01. And I'll see you over at Instagram. I'm chatting to people at Instagram. People who are coming to Instagram, I'm DMing with them. It's a really great thing, actually. If you come to Instagram, you can DM me with video requests, and they will get to me much quicker than through YouTube, because Instagram is something I'm using much more. So it's a much more direct way of contacting me. So if you'd like to contact me, you can leave your comments. I love reading your comments. I reply to as many as I possibly can. But if you come over to Instagram and follow me, we can actually DM each other, which is a more direct way. If you're going to be spending time with your dad on Father's Day, luckily I'm going to be, then make sure he knows he's appreciated. If you can't because of lockdown rules and all this stuff, then, you know, I'm sorry to hear that, but give him a phone call, let him know how much he's appreciated, and see if your dad would try a meat alternative if you're having lunch with him. Take care, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy. I'll see you all again very, very soon.